folks, welcome to Georgia's Smoky Mountain RC, and today we're going to look at another new toy. It is a Craftsman Planer. And you may say, what is this good for? Well, you got a pile of old wood like I do. I have a whole bunch of fencing that needs to be replaced, and as I replace it, I'm just throwing the wood out. Well, with a planer, you can take some old and rotten, nasty wood and make it look brand new again. And in RC hobby, it comes in great because you can use these woods for things like your firewall. You can build your craft box for taking out to the airfield with you, your battery box, and you can use it for laser engraving and laser etching and other things like that, along with our hobby. So check this out. Now for the unboxing and setup of our planer. Okay, now the unboxing is done, let's take a look what we need to do to get this thing ready to start planing. So the first thing we want to do is get our little handle and the little gauge. This doesn't actually tighten or loosen anything, it's just a gauge. I'm going to plug our gauge in here. Comes with a little Allen key we can use. And this can only go on one way because it has a flat edge. So find the flat edge. Alright, that is in. Let's tighten this down along with the gauge. The gauge needs to be able to spin freely. So don't snug this down too much. That's about right there. Okay, so once we have our handle on here, let's crank it up a little bit. Let's crank it down, let's crank it up. Remove the styrofoam, packing styrofoam, and then there's a cover on here. I'll pull the cover out. The directions talk about waxing these surfaces. Okay, and also to keep these surfaces aligned. And I've already checked mine, and I think I'm good from the factory. I don't think I really have to align anything. I mean, maybe a teeny tiny adjustment, but I think it's good enough. I'm gonna run with it and see how it does before I start messing with adjusting these. But you want this to be straight all the way through. You want to wax these, keep them slick. Do not build a piece of wood platform that sits in this to run your wood across, because you're going to burn out your motor if you do that, because these are designed for this surface to be smooth and slick. That's why they say wax it, so that the wood comes through nice and easy. If you build a wood platform to go in here and it's not slick, then as it's drawing the wood in, the manual feed draws the wood in, it's going to have a lot more friction, and that friction is going to cause your motor to eventually wear out sooner than it should. So use what's with the unit. Don't build an extra platform to stick in there, or you're going to eventually burn out your motor. So the next thing we want to do is, if you want to install a vacuum to catch all the material, that will install across the back. Let's see, I think you can install it either way. And there's two thumb screws to hold this in place, and you use a 4-inch vacuum on it. I'm not using that, I'm using this outdoors. I don't want to lose my thumb screws, so I'm just going to screw those in and leave those in here, and then I can add this on anytime later if I decide to. So the next thing I want to do is inspect the blades. I'm assuming they're okay from the factory, but it's not good to assume. Let's verify for sure that the blades are installed properly and fully tightened down. So take these two thumb screws out. Thumb screws make things so much easier. Pull the guard off, and they give us a special tool. By the way, there's a special storage right here where this tool can go so that you don't lose it. Very important tool. So here's the blade. There's two of them. There's one on the top. You roll it over. There's another one on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure these are all nice and tight all the way across. Excess oil in here. Okay, so that looks good. Put the cover back on, the guard back on, tighten the thumb screws back down. We're almost ready to go. So the next thing we need to do is put a little lubricant on the slides that where this is raised up and down. I'm going to do that on both sides. I checked it and I was hoping from the factory it would be okay, and it's not. It needs a little bit more grease on there. And there's also a little guide that's used when you change out your blades. And there's a nice little Velcro piece right here. You can stick that to so you don't lose it. Alright, so let's take a look inside here. I just happen to have some high temperature grease on my hand, which I'm going to use. Now, the gear has plenty of grease on it. The chains in here have plenty of grease, but these arms have almost no grease on them. It's just going to make it harder to raise and lower the device with the crank, the different wood thicknesses. And you don't need a lot, just a thin coat, because it's right now from the factory it's dry. There's very little grease on it at all. Okay, and you want to do this to the other side as well. I'm not going to show that in the video, but do the exact same thing to the other side. Once you're done, put the cover back on and bolt it back up. Okay, we are now ready to cut. So I'm going to get some of my junky lumber here and see if we can make it look real pretty. First thing you want to do is put your board in and bring down cutting head. And there's a chart that comes with this because your maximum amount of material you're supposed to remove. Okay, to set up for your wood, what you want to do is measure your wood, what's the thickness of it, set your gauge right at the thickness of the wood. Do a practice run and run this straight through. It should take off very little surface area because it's set right to the thickness of the wood. Once you run it through once, then you can use the dial to adjust how much you want to take off. So for my first pass, it just barely kind of skimmed the surface all the way down. So what I want to do is bring this to a 1/16 of an inch is you're going to turn the dial so that the 0 lines up with the mark. Then you're going to turn the handle until the 1/16 is over the line. Then you know you're at the right point. Now I've already adjusted this one. So now I should be taking 1/16 of an inch off from this pass. So look how nice and smooth the board looks on this side now. So it has my holes from where it's plugged in the fence and has a few knots, but definitely some wood I can work with. Now look at the other side that hasn't been planed yet. That's basically what it looked like. So now let's plane the other side, and you can keep planing these down. I'm going to do a 1/16 at an inch till I get the thickness that I want, and then do that for all of my boards. Now you can see how good the board looks on both sides. Still warped a little bit, but I can take care of that, fix that. Now all I have to do is, if I want to make a firewall, you know, cut a circle out of this guy at a certain thickness, then I just keep sending it through the planer until I get the thickness that I want. But this takes some old junky wood and makes it new. So I'm definitely going to build a field box with my battery in it for charging my electric planes, and a place for tools and things to carry out the airfield out of this. So this turned out really nice. So now for the finished product. See how nice the boards look now. Almost look like brand new. Pretty soon these are going to be used in a lot of different things I've done with the laser cutter and some firewalls and aircrafts I'm working on. So this tool turned out to be really well. It worked pretty good. Had to do quite a few passes because this wood was really old. But you know, I heard somebody once say that, you know, the older the wood, the more seasoned it is. Sometimes the better that it is. Definitely is true in musical instruments. We're going to do a little bit of laser cutting next with some of this wood that I've just planed. And I'm going to use this for this aircraft. So I had this really old, beautiful Cessna, and just a really nice looking aircraft, as you can see. And I took it for a maiden flight, and this is what happened.
Here's Mr. George getting ready for his inaugural flight. Maiden flight, I think is what we call it. The little red light flashing means it's recording, correct? Yes. Yeah, okay, well I got you. Shh. Coming out on the runway. Runway. You're good.
Is this the maiden voyage, taking off from left to right?
Maiden voyage, taking off left to right. Okay, George, just slow, easy movements. Give it enough power so it'll get it airborne.
Oh boy.
Here we go. Maiden flight takeoff. Power.
It's not.
Cut your... Oh man! Oh God, no! I missed it, but that's okay. You're good.
So we kind of missed the crash, but basically what happened was I converted this from gas to electric, and I put in a 6S motor, 6S battery, because it's a pretty heavy plane. It's all balsa. There's not a whole lot of areas that are not balsa. The whole plane is wood, and I didn't realize it was supposed to fly with a lot less power, and I kind of gunned it, and the firewall pulled right out of this plane and took a nosedive into the ground. Unfortunately, it was missed, as you saw. But now I want to laser cut a new firewall with the wood that I just prepared to go into this aircraft so that I can repair it. So check this out. So this is the Lightburn software that I just drew a few circles on, set this into a group, and this is going to be the new firewall. Notice I have multiple patterns for bolting, different patterns I can use for bolting the engine mount to the firewall, and I basically want to laser cut this out of the wood that I just created with the planer, And notice its speed is 400 millimeters per minute. And I'm going to do 4 passes to be able to cut through the wood. And now that this is created and ready, I'm just going to save file and save as G-code. And we're ready to go. So let's see how it turned out. I hope that it cut all the way through with these 4 passes. We'll see in just a second, but so far it's looking pretty good. Well, overall, I'd say it turned out pretty good. And start getting this Cessna put back together again and try to get another good maiden on this. So I hope you enjoyed this video. A lot of useful information, I hope. Maybe you'd like to subscribe to our channel and check out our other aircraft build videos and flight videos and 3D printer videos. A lot of stuff to do with the RC hobby and a little bit of thinking outside the box. So check out our channel and subscribe if you like, and have a fantastic day.